how easy is it to repeat a title? No. How easy, first of all, is it to win a title in the NBA, considering the fact that there are 30 teams competing for a title and you are the one to go and win the title? It's a big thing. It's a difficult thing because NBA is one of the toughest league in the whole world among all the other leagues, one of the toughest league, if not the most, because all the best basketball players in the world play in the NBA. It's fair enough to say that it's a tough task, and repeating for the title is even more and more difficult task, because when you're going for a championship run, now everyone is eliminated while you are playing in the finals. Everyone is looking at you. They know your strengths, they know your weakness. All the contenders are now ready for next season after studying you. So it's an even more difficult task. But talking about the Lakers, can they repeat the title? Can they repeat their championship run? Can they make it happen again next year? Considering this year's condition, it was a difficult task to win the championship, but they still did it. They can do it next year too, but how easy or how difficult can it be? So talking about this season, Lakers were pretty good in the regular season. They won 52 games. They lost 19 games, dominated the Western Conference, had the first seed, but they really didn't look like they were dominating the whole league, because Milwaukee Bucks had the best record and there were some flaws in the Lakers game which we all noticed. So there were some questions in our mind when we talk about Lakers winning the championships, right? Championship. But just before the shutdown of the league, the Lakers made a pretty strong statement by winning 11 out of the 13 games. Those 11 games included the win against Los Angeles Clippers and Milwaukee Bucks, which by the way came in back-to-back games. It was a strong statement because Clippers were considered to be the biggest threat in the Western Conference and Milwaukee Bucks were considered to be the best team in the league because of their record. So it was a strong statement to beat them in back-to-back games. But after the shutdown, when they returned in the bubble, they beat the Clippers in the first game. Good sign. But finished the regular season with a 3-5 record in the bubble. That wasn't a really good sign. Now that's where people started doubting them. Because the bubble regular season were your latest performance just before the playoffs. That was your flow. That was considered to be your flow, how you're going into the playoffs. And now you're going to face Portland Trail Blazers, which was a difficult task. It was said so. It was a difficult task. But they beat them 4-1. Rockets 4-1. Nuggets 4-1. Then went to the finals and won the championship. Good things happened in the playoffs. Definitely. So many good things happened in the playoffs. First of all, Rondo was good. Whereas it looked like Rondo wasn't the same person anymore. He wasn't the same player anymore in the regular season. But in the playoff Rondo became true. And then Dwight Howard played good minutes. The adjustments I think that Frank Vogel made were good. Sometimes not playing Howard and McGee against the Houston Rockets. They never saw the flow sometimes. That was some good adjustments. And then next thing was the defense went from good to best. Defensively, Lakers were already good. They were supposed to be good. They have really, really good defensive players. History of a great defensive record. Yes, that's what we can say. So they were good. But in the playoffs, they had the best defense among all the playoff teams. That was really good. Ball movement increased. There was too much ball movement. I should say, especially against the Houston Rockets, and it was fun to see. There was a lot of ball movements. And then at the last, LeBron not on the court wasn't always an issue now, because it was an issue in the regular season. Lakers weren't able to find their offense without LeBron James, but this was not an issue. So there were so many things that went better for the Lakers in the playoffs. Surprisingly, they were better in the playoffs as compared to the regular season. They were better, and I was really happy to see this. So they beat the Heat in the finals. They won the championship. But finals were never a problem for Los Angeles Lakers. They could have beaten any team in the 7 games from the Eastern Conference. They could have beaten any team. Beat Bucks, beat Raptors, beat Celtics, beat Heat. They could have beaten them. The biggest problem lied in the Western Conference, where you had powerhouses. You had to make the finals before. You had to face the Western Conference houses before making it to the finals. That was the most difficult task, but they did it. But next year, there might be some concerns. And some things necessary to seal a repeat, to seal another title run. First one is keep attacking inside. Now that's Lakers' biggest strength. They were attacking so much inside the paint. They were attacking so much at the rim because they had big men. They had Anthony Davis, JaVale McGee, Dwight Howard, LeBron James, who just dominated the paint. They didn't have, like, the three-point shooting wasn't really their weapon, right? They dominated inside the paint. They had lob threats. They had fast break points inside the paint, and it was all good. This is the first thing. The second thing is don't force three-pointers. They did in the finals, they did sometimes in the playoffs when they forced three-pointers, but that isn't their strength. If you are going through a good phase in three-pointers, doesn't mean that that's your strength. That wasn't really their strength, so they don't need to force it. They can play this traditional game inside, and now the biggest change that I think the Lakers need to make is to add a perimeter dancer, a wing, a player who can dance on the perimeter, a player who can score for you. Now Dion Waiters can do that job for you if only you allow him to hoop, if only you allow him to play his own game. Then only it can happen. And I think this is the biggest change that Lakers will be making, and I consider this the most important change in their roster, in their game plan to seal another championship. If you liked this video, then press the like button and subscribe to Crazey Bballler for more videos like these.